Hey everybody out there in the land of YouTube, this is Annette Dion. I'm the host and founder of the Psychic News Network. Welcome. Today is Monday, May 23rd, 2022, and the moon is in Pisces. Yeah, indecisive Pisces. I love Pisces, don't get me wrong. I hope you had a good weekend. I enjoyed the sunny weather here, and I encourage everybody to watch Church of Spirituality, which I pour my whole heart and soul into, and I really appreciate it when you watch. I do my best to give you inspiring and uplifting messages each time, and this month's theme has been the Divine Feminine, receptivity, and the talks the past couple of weeks have been really important in terms of the female energy. So there's that. If you'd like to join Grassroots of Democracy, I hope you'd like to. If you haven't already, send an email to grassrootsofdemocracy@gmail.com. Type AYE in the subject line, and we'll send you the Zoom invites. The meetings are Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, and lots going on. Also, one more thing, I have time this week if you'd like to book a reading, and that's AnnetteDionPsychic@gmail.com. So, let's get to the news. I don't have a list. I haven't written out a list. Most of the news today is about the election in Georgia, and we know that Kemp is going to win that, right? I am pretty flabbergasted at how many heinous things Brian Kemp has done, like withhold money from the poor and withhold money from people who need medical attention. And I encourage you to listen to Stacey Abrams talk about the situation in Georgia, and we will look at how that race looks for her. It's astounding. I mean, it's astounding to see how little the Republicans will do for the American people, and how much they don't want to help their fellow human beings. And you know, for Brian Kemp and Purdue to say the horrible things that they conjure up about Stacey Abrams is just out and out, flat out racism and misogyny. There's no way around it. The two, they don't compare. If you put Kemp or Purdue side by side, you know, with Stacey Abrams, it's like, oh, here's somebody who has like nobility and honor and compassion and caring and leadership, and she's a female and she's African American, and she's really got an amazing strong presence and makes a lot of sense. And then there's Kemp, who I don't even have to tell you how he is, just bashing her just for nothing, because she's a woman of color. Let's just be frank. I think I'll just be Annette. I won't be Frank. Anyway, let's take a look at some issues. I didn't write a list. I have been listening to the news a bit today, and it's all about the race in Georgia, all about what this means for the Democrats, all about who's going to win, what's going to happen to our democracy. It's all that. So that's all that's in the news. Excuse the noise. I think there's an air conditioner on behind me outdoors. So I'll just talk loudly. The moon is in Pisces. Okay, so today's a floaty day. I do want to say a word about blood drives in your area. And the reason I'm telling you this is because I gave blood today. I have a friend who hosts these things, and he's really persistent, and he just puts me on the schedule. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll be there. So the blood drives, they're in dire need of blood, and if it were you and you needed to receive blood, you would certainly hope that some nice person, I know everybody can't give blood, but if you can, you would really hope that some nice person, you know, stepped up and gave blood. So anyway, I'm the universal donor, so I feel kind of guilty if I don't. I'm just picking cards, and we'll just see what's up with what's happening with these races, since that's what I'm talking about, just randomly picking cards. I had lunch with Corey today, and we are planning to meet on Wednesday for a live back at his house. I think it's going to be a bit colder, so I'm going to see if we can get the fire pit going. But there's a lot of logistical stuff with that. Anyway, that's going to be live on Bridge Cape Ann on Wednesday. I'll be there at 6:30. I don't know what time he's going to be there. Probably 6. And thanks to all you guys who like to watch the really always too long show. The cards for this evening: Temperance, Six of Pentacles, Queen of Cups. This is interesting because this is about the races and what we're going through as a nation. The Six of Pentacles, the Democrats are looking kind of strong. Because when it all comes down to it, honestly, it's getting to a point when it all comes down to it, people are suffering. And if they can get out of their dumb brain, I mean that in the nicest way. If the Republican voters can get out of their dumb brain and get into their smart brain, they'll understand that they can complain about gas prices all they want and inflation all they want. But what are the Republicans offering for solutions? Because I haven't heard one solution. So the Democrats are looking actually favorable, and the Temperance card indicates, yeah, this is a time to be patient. Oh gosh, I still have a Band-Aid on my finger. This is a time to be patient, and to know that, gosh, we've been patient. We've been extremely patient. To be patient and to know that this, working it out. Our founding fathers had a vision and a dream for America, and they knew we'd have challenges, and we really haven't kept up with it the way that we need to. Like, we haven't been voting the ways and numbers that we need to till really now. When it all comes down to it, it's going to take a little while for this to kind of shake out. So that's why we have Grassroots of Democracy. That's why we're donating to organizations that are saving democracy. I really do feel like people in general, enough people are starting to weigh it out. That's what the Temperance card is like. Let's think this through, because it's starting to hurt. The crises that we're in are starting to affect, if it's not affecting you, it's affecting your neighbor or family member. God forbid, a teenage girl who has an unwanted pregnancy for whatever reason that happened, way that happened. So we're starting to really weigh it out. And this actually is pointing a bit to the Roe versus Wade issue as being a major thing on people's minds, especially when the Republicans, they're all white, pasty, Pillsbury doughboy looking men. And the ones that are wanting to take away Roe versus Wade. And the American people are starting to kind of sit back in general and go, this seems really unfair. It just seems like it's just not fair. And the most amazing ones are the ones in the Republicans that are taking away women's rights in the poorest states in the nation. And Stacey Abrams did address how many people in Georgia, for example, are really struggling, and they really are having trouble making ends meet, and they don't have health care, the health care that they need, and Brian Kemp just doesn't care. Brian Kemp went and spent the money somewhere else that was supposed to go to the poor people. There's a special place in hell for people like that. If it makes you feel any better. The Queen of Cups indicates the women's issues. I feel a lot of energy around women with these cards. So it's the women's issues that are going to cause the Democrats to, weigh in. Right now it's equal. These two, not equal, but, this is a time to assess the situation. That's where we're at. And Kemp will win in Georgia, and then it'll be him once again, another go around, Kemp and Abrams. let's just ask the pendulum. Oh pendulum, here's my pendulum. Who's gonna win? Because sometimes it gets the right answer. Is Stacey Abrams gonna win in Georgia? I see yes. Because what's happening is especially the minorities are getting so angry at Brian Kemp for all that he's done. And it looks like Stacey Abrams has had the messaging out pretty good. And she's really hit the ground running, you know, with getting out the vote and with her messaging. So she's got it going on. I get that Stacey Abrams is going to ultimately win the race in Georgia. Now, let's take a look at Raphael Warnock, and it's just unbelievable to Warnock, and why does his name escape me? Herschel Walker, because I don't like to think about him. Is Raphael Warnock going to win in Georgia? Pendulum might not be ready to tell me. Is Raphael Warnock going to win in Georgia when it all comes down to it? Well, it's going to be a little bit of, I see some nefarious things going on with Herschel Walker, but I actually see him getting caught. I see Herschel Walker getting caught doing something nefarious. Nefarious? Republicans? Imagine that. What a unique thing. Let's pick some cards about that. Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker. Justice. Yeah, Herschel Walker's got some legal stuff going on. And he won't be able to keep up with Warnock. I mean, they're just like from two different planets. They're totally at opposite ends of the spectrum, on all fronts. But the first and foremost top one, intelligence. People love Raphael Warnock. Love will win, love will win, love will win. Oh, while I'm mentioning love will win, our too many groups. 20 on Tuesday. Tomorrow's Tuesday, so please do AnnetteDion7@gmail.com. Just type 20 in the subject line to get an invite for Zoom on tomorrow, where we meditate and intend for 20 minutes on the kind of country that we want to see in the United States of America. The other headlines in the news. Since I didn't write a list, I'm actually going to go right here to my phone and look at the headlines and see what we can see. Ukraine. What's going on in Ukraine? Let's just take a look at where Russia is right now, just in terms of their status, their standing. Oh, and one of the headlines that I saw, if it's still here, I'm just checking my CNN app just to see what we want to chat about. Russian diplomat resigns in protest of Moscow's aggressive war. Let us see what's going to happen with that, because people are starting to defect and the military is starting to defect. And I did sense that. I did mention it. I'm getting the number 5. Is that 5 months? Is it 5 months as opposed to 5 weeks? 5 months. What I'm asking about is a total defection. Is that a word? I think it is. Is Russia going to stop It looks like Russia's going to stop their attacks. Wow. So I got the number 5. And I have the sense that 5 months until we see this, I just see a pile of ash. Is the war going to stop in 5 weeks? Okay. See, the guides are, I'm getting a strong yes on that. In 5 weeks. Is the war going to stop in less than 5 weeks? Seriously? Is it going to stop in 4 weeks? Is the war going to stop in 3 weeks? 4 weeks. Something significant is going to happen in 4 weeks. So stay tuned. June 23rd-ish. Wow. Let's ask about Putin. Let's ask the cards about Putin. Let's see how he is. How's Putin? You know, I know I'm not talking about the United States right now, but I just have to say I'm just getting this hit that the Republican Party right now is in complete disarray. And I don't mean, like, that's obvious, right? But I just mean, like, maybe it's because of the elections going on in Georgia, but and the whole debacle in Pennsylvania, they just don't know which way to turn. And I just feel like if there's not cohesion, then there's no strength. And on the negative, that's how Trump got all his power, was the whole MAGA tribe had cohesion. It just came over me in a wave. So let's take a look. Meanwhile, sorry, I do this to my clients too. I just keep switching topics. And they're like, what? Hey, weren't you just talking about this? Just following the threads. This is about the Putin and how he's doing right now. This is Putin right now. And I've gotten this card about him before. Doesn't look very happy. Looks really devastated. And it's a female. I'm reading about him. It's a female. But I also feel this pointing to Putin actually has a couple of daughters. 2 that I know of. Maybe more. And the family, his daughters have, just feels like they've really disowned him. It really does. Putin still has a lot of money. And right now he's weighing it out. Second time that card came up. Putin's weighing it out. Let's find out more about what's happening there. Let's see if we can get some good news going tonight. All right, yeah, missed opportunity on Putin's part. He's missing the opportunity to finally stop this because he's bleeding money. And this is about their Ukrainians. Happy Ukrainians moving back quickly, moving back into Ukraine. Now, I'm not saying it's all peaches and cream. It's far from that. But the simple act of some Ukrainians moving back into Ukraine is a big act. It's like, it moves energy that they're doing that, because it's so in defiance of what naturally it looks like should be happening. They're defying the odds. And the Ukrainians doing that, it makes me think about, you know, the idea that I have, and we had our first meeting last week on Tuesday about people getting together and intending for what we want to happen in this country. The energy of the Ukrainians that are moving back into Ukraine is similar in that they're so intentional. They're so intentional that conviction that we are going to get our land back and we're going to take it back is actually pushing the energy towards an end to the war. It's almost like they create their own reality. And then it causes things around them to change. Like, it causes the war to kind of cease. I know that's it's a little bit of a rabbit hole, but if you followed me there, it does kind of work that way. When people are have so much conviction about something, like the Ukrainians are just like, that's it, we won. That's what we have to do in our country. And act too, of course, but you know, just take that attitude. That's it. We're gonna win this. We're just gonna win this. We're just gonna win it. We're gonna figure it out and we're gonna win it. That's what I pick up. The Ukrainians is pretty strong. Let's see. Okay, the other news is Trump over the weekend, I guess, retweeted, but he's not on Twitter. I guess he's on Truth Social. I don't know what's going on with that, his social media thing that he invented. But anyway, so he tweeted over the weekend, or whatever you call what he does on Truth Social, which is the most ridiculous thing ever to call something that's 100% lies truth. But that's the kind of world we live in now. That he was calling for a civil war. Well, isn't that what he did on January 6th? Yeah, kind of. So what's going to happen with that? The sword of truth is going to cut right through it. This reminds me of the Statue of Liberty. So Truth Social. The real truth is going to cut through that BS. And Trump calling for civil war on his Truth Social is actually going to bring people together in a positive way, in terms of coming together and going, no, we don't want this. We don't want this. And I'm talking about Republicans too. Just distancing themselves from Trump saying that sort of thing. And it will be too challenging for him to keep up that kind of language. Because if he's endorsing, you know, some Republican for governor or senator or whatever, it's going to be challenging for him, for that endorsement to carry much weight, because he's over there saying we need to have civil war. So Republicans won't want to be associated with Trump if he's talking like that. So it's kind of a win for the Democrats. And on that note, you know, I feel like I was going on a little bit of a rampage the other day about the Republicans that are in Hungary, but I did really sense that they were a little bit nervous at the CPAC Orban thing, because I kind of feel like the Republicans that went to Hungary, Mark Meadows and Tucker Carlson, la-di-da, they're actually, I just feel this energy of them being in Hungary questioning if they're going to be outnumbered by people that don't want, of course, we don't want fascism, we don't want autocracy, we don't want authoritarianism. So I just sense them going, well, it's almost like January 6th all over again. Makes sense, they're planning another coup, a different type of coup, a different style of coup. So I feel like they're wondering if it's going to be popular enough, if what they propose in their campaigns is going to be popular enough, because they're going to, like, for instance, Marjorie Taylor Greene doesn't have a leg to stand on when it comes to what she's done for the Georgians. And I saw one of her constituents, this guy, chew her out at one of her events because she hadn't done anything, and she's talking about Jewish space lasers. Try to say that 3 times fast. Jewish space lasers. I feel they're on shaky ground in terms of confidence. Plus, the January 6th hearings are coming up, which I just heard today. I didn't hear the reason, but I heard it was going to be less days. I should probably do a reading about that. Anyway, so that was about Trump and Truth Social. So now we're going to go to Madison Cawthorne, who is he's threatening dark MAGA. It sounds like sci-fi. Dum 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 dum, dark MAGA. Madison Cawthorne. Madison Cawthorne is bored. He's going to be bored. He's going to have nothing to do. I went to parochial school for a while, and the nuns would say this: idle hands are the devil's workshop. And anybody who went to parochial school probably heard that too. really little, but I always thought that was interesting. So Madison Cawthorne has idle hands, and so it becomes the devil's workshop. And so that boy needs to get a job. He needs to get a real job. And I feel like there are Republicans that are coming around to this extremism and saying, especially after what happened in Buffalo, we can't forget that. Madison Cawthorne this is Madison Cawthorne picking up the pieces. He's got a lot of burdens. He's being investigated. I just read that briefly. He's being investigated. I don't know what the crime is. I have to read it. And this is Madison Cawthorne. Madison Cawthorne, I don't know if he comes from money. Probably. They all do. It's the Democrats that come from scrappy upbringings, you know. I mean, I'm just generalizing. But this is Madison Cawthorne. I feel like he's going to be hit hard financially, and it's going to feel like an incredible burden for him to not have his seat. I'm not seeing a whole lot of energy being propelled forward for violence with him, because he's losing his credibility and popularity with the people too, the MAGA people. It's very complicated. He's losing his appeal. If he ever had appeal. I mean, I guess, well, you know, a bunch of people voted for him and he could have squeaked by, but he didn't. Let us count our blessings, shall we? But I kind of feel Madison Cawthorne's thing falling apart. He's not very old to have really gotten, you know, sunk his feet, sunk his teeth into some real substance. So he's not got anything to really run with. These are bad puns that I'm saying, that are just kind of coming out. I know, he's in a wheelchair. To sink his teeth into, he doesn't have enough substance. If he had more substance, like Trump, for instance, if like Trump had substance in the sense of that he's a real criminal. Trump has practiced being a real criminal for 70 years, since he was 4. Maybe before that. I don't know, is he 74? I think he's 74. Anyway, so Madison Cawthorne doesn't have all those years, because he's only 26, that say somebody like Trump has of experience on how to be a real criminal. And I don't think he has, I was saying I don't think he has a leg to stand on, but that's not a good pun. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now I'm going to look at the cards for her. And Matt Gaetz. Why is that man not in prison? Calm down. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Justice. Marjorie Taylor Greene is in legal trouble. The heavens are going to help Georgia. I see the angels helping Georgia. Yeah, a lot of people were praying that Marjorie Taylor Greene goes away. And I see a win for the Democrats. I see a win for the Democrats. So I think Marcus Flowers takes it. Let's ask. Is it Marcus Flowers who takes it? Oh yeah. You know, people are done. People are done. I feel like the American people have just had it up to here. Really. Really. I am so tired of hearing the big lie. Oh my goodness. Over and over and over and over. And I'm so tired of horrible people that just go around being on their pedestal, being horrible. Like, that's a good thing. Like, wanting people like, yeah, let's hate one another. As Ron DeSantis just pops into my mind, right? Okay, is Ron DeSantis really going to run for president? And I cannot even believe polls that say that people want him to run for president over Trump. Is that the best that we can do? People, is that the best that we can do? Donald Trump is not running for president again anyway. I know Melania gave some kind of a tease line like, oh yes, I'd love to be in the White House again. Don't even listen. But if it were theoretically, you know, in your imagination, if it were between Trump and DeSantis, people want DeSantis. That's bad. All right, a few cards about that. Let's see what we get. I got a bunch of cards about that. Death card. Pain. Turmoil. This is about DeSantis running for president. Six of Pentacles has some messages for me tonight. It keeps coming up. We're right now we're in, things are hanging in the balance. Absolutely. And people are damn tired of this Trump shtick of, you know, woe is me, they stole the election from me. That people are so tired of hearing that. And the King of Cups, I feel like there's going to be somebody else in the Republican Party running for president, not DeSantis, not Trump. Thank God. And the guides are saying DeSantis has too many legal issues. So we'll find out more about that. And so does Trump, right? For that matter, Mike Pence, milquetoast. Is Mike Pence actually going to run for president? He was endorsing Brian Kemp. Is Mike Pence really running for president? I get no. I get Mike Pence is not running for president. The man has nothing appealing about him at all. I heard him earlier. I heard Mike Pence getting up and saying something about, oh, Stacey Abrams is so terrible, and it was so like not convincing. The man is boring as boring can be. I'm telling you. Mike Pence, no thank you. Nothing against older white men, but I'm pretty tired of older white men, Republicans, being in charge of anything in this country. Speaking of that, let's go to Supreme Court. Let's go to John Roberts. What's he thinking right now in terms of this Roe versus Wade thing and how the Supreme Court's going to go? What's going to happen? How does John Roberts feel about all this? Well, Roberts actually is having a hard time because he's being looked to. Roberts in the Supreme Court is being looked at like this is a heartbreak card. Like he's a disappointment to America big time. And believe it or not, it bothers him a little bit. Maybe a lot. And the Nine of Wands, yeah, interesting. What the Supreme Court is doing, John Roberts and the Supreme Court knows that there was a really foolish thing to go ahead and, well, first of all, there was a leak, not that, but the information. What the Supreme Court is doing, he knows is folly. And he's feeling the disappointment of the people around him. John Roberts, he must have a wife. They all have wives. They're all married. It's like if you're not married for some reason, you're not considered legit, it seems. Anyway, it's a sad state of affairs. I feel like if he is married, and I'm sure he is, his wife, the women in his life, in John Roberts' life, are very disappointed with him. They're very upset. And he does feel foolish, but he's kind of, you know, he's got egg on his face and he doesn't really know what to do. This is the Nine of Wands representing the Supreme Court justices. I see that it's going to be, I'm not so sure that they're going to throw out Roe versus Wade next month. And I think I saw that before too. I see a bit of a scuffle with that in terms of it being fought back on. You know, it's like a tug of war. Have you ever played tug of war? in gym class. I didn't like that game. It was kind of violent. Anyway, people really got into it, and they dug up the dirt underneath them. Anyway, it's a tug of war. I feel like the Supreme Court, you know, trying to throw out Roe versus Wade, is just like, it's like a tug of war. I'm not so sure it's going to happen in June, if it happens at all. Let's do this. Is Roe versus Wade going to no longer be the law of the land in June? Is it going to be thrown out in June? I'm getting no. Is it going to be still being contested in the month of June? Yeah, not so fast, Supreme Court. Because we got Clarence Thomas, a criminal, on the Supreme Court, and we got to deal with him first. Is he going to be impeached? He should be. Look at me, I didn't write down any questions, and there's just so much to talk about. Justice. Clarence Thomas, justice. Burdens. Looking at the possibility of, is that impeachment? This is Clarence Thomas. Is it, well, I don't think he'd get impeached because, you know, they just have way too much power, and they need to not have so much power. But anyway, is Clarence Thomas going to be forced to resign? No. I think I asked about this the other night. Might have been on the show with Corey. Is Clarence Thomas going to be forced to resign? No. Okay. Is Clarence Thomas going to voluntarily step down from his position? Clarence Thomas is going to voluntarily step down from his position. He's going to be invited to step down, and he will. Is it because of his wife's involvement in the insurrection? Yeah. Just wait, everybody. Just wait and see. Okay, January 6th committee. Hearings June 9th. Mr. Merrick Garland, we need to see your face again. We need reassurance. The American people are waiting for you to emerge out of your molehole. He always looks confident when I see him. Merrick Garland never looks like he's worried when I see him. He has a very, like, he's really always thinking. Merrick Garland, he's always thinking. You can tell when you see him, he's thinking, but he doesn't look like he's worried. I don't know, maybe it's just his poker face, but let's see. What's to be expected with the January 6th committee hearings? Tears. The guides are saying tears. I will not watch. If they're showing violent footage, I will not watch any of it. I will not. There is something very demonic about that day, and there were like a lot of signs of the demonic in what happened on January 6th. So I will not watch the videos when they have the hearings. I'll listen to what people have to say, but I will not watch the videos. Anyway. What's going to happen? The Chariot card comes up whenever I read about the January 6th committee. They are cranking. I know it seems like it's taken forever, but if you saw the amount of workload that they have, you would really think the opposite. You would think, wow, they are really speeding through this. This is thousands upon thousands, hundreds of thousands of pages of documents and, questioning and testimony and text messages, and there's just, we would actually think, even though we've been so like, well, this is taking too long, we would actually, if we saw the volume of information that they have to go through, this January 6th committee and all the people that they have to interview and question, you'd be like, I can't believe the workload that they have had, that they've gotten through in a year and a half. New truths will be revealed by the January 6th committee. And the guides are saying The January 6th committee, at these hearings, there'll be one pervasive theme. There'll be one pervasive storyline. The guys are giving it to me. It's like, President Trump attempted to overthrow America. It's amazing how close he got. The Eight of Wands. This is, okay, these are both fast-moving cards. So even though the January 6th committee, from what I heard, they reduced the number of days that these public hearings will be, I just think they're gonna cram so much into that amount of time. And I do think they're kind of under pressure to hurry up, because we don't want it to get too close to the elections. This is going to change the face of America. These hearings will change the face of America. These hearings will change the way that we look at America. We are no longer a democracy. Newsflash, America is no longer a democracy. Newsflash, have you noticed? Not the way that our founding fathers intended for it to be. I know we're still called a democracy. Billionaires are Billionaires are making exponentially more money than ever. And then there's Jeff Bezos over there complaining, and Elon Musk complaining, oh, the Biden administration, they shouldn't be taxing us. And you want to vote for Republicans that give corporations all these tax breaks? If the American people really understood what was going on, the MAGA people, if they really understood what was going on, there is no way in hell that they'd be voting Republican. I'm telling you, it's true. Speaking of Republicans, Adam Kinzinger has a really good organization called Country First. He's on the January 6th committee. He's like the old conventional Republican, even though he's young. You know, like normal. He might be the only one. Mitt Romney, I don't know. He goes both ways with the being a real Republican thing. What am I asking about? I forgot. I guess I'm still on the January 6th committee. I've gotten this before. It's going to be extremely emotional. We'll shed a lot of tears. It's the bar next door. Trump attempted to steal America by saying to the mob, we're going to take back our country. Yeah, that's what we need to do. I actually see Joe Biden looking pretty good. I do. Believe it or not, people, I know. It's like that Beatles song, Come Together. With the lyrics that don't make any sense, that song. I love that song, though. It's great. We're going to come together. We're going to come together. Because I see this January 6th committee, these hearings, making us all very emotional and wax nostalgic for an America that is, you know, we're divided, but less divided. It's all true, I swear. So, yeah, that's a lot. I'm going to try to describe what this feels like. It feels like when I was a kid, we used to, like, I don't know, I guess it was a way of being bullied. Play 52 pickup. You know, somebody would say, hey, you want to play 52 pickup? And you wouldn't know. You'd be like innocent. And then you go, yeah, let's play. And then they throw the cards up and you had to pick them all up. That's what the Republican Party feels like right now. Like somebody threw the entire deck of cards up in the air and it's all fallen down and they need to be all picked up. Let's do one question before we go for the evening. I almost went live tonight, but sometimes it's too crazy. We'll save that for Wednesday with Corey. I will do a live again, though. I will. I won't let you know. It will be very spontaneous. 3 cards for the next couple of days. I feel like a lot is going to happen over the next couple of days, but I don't feel like it's bad. I don't feel like it's bad. I feel like we're going to start to hear some good news. People are rising up. I can feel it. For the next few days. Yeah, exactly. I just said it. It's a celebration card. I mean, not that we're going to be having a holiday or anything. Well, Memorial Day is coming up, but I'll be back before then. This is like celebrating. This is celebrating seeing the Democrats starting to really rally. That's what this is. We're just going to start feeling it and seeing signs. The King of Swords, Joe Biden, I don't care that he said that if Taiwan is attacked by China, that we would help them militarily. I don't care that he said that. That wasn't a big deal. Trump said some things that he shouldn't have said. You think? Couple? Anyway, I thought that was completely fine. Because we have to show our strength. And our communication, the Democrats' communication is going to get a lot better. We have our work cut out for us. We really do. It's so easy. Republicans want to steal our democracy, and they're trying very hard every day to steal our democracy. And we want to remain a democracy. So, and Republicans, they want white supremacy. They want extremist white supremacy, and the Democrats don't. You know, I heard that Josh Hawley thought it was a horrible idea to take steps to stop violent white supremacy. He thought it was a bad idea. And they also thought that it was a bad idea to feed starving babies. You know, when you add it all up, they think it's a good idea to take away women's rights. When you add it all up, people are angry enough that the Democrats will be getting out, and even people that aren't Democrats will be getting out and voting Democrat. So there you have it. I will let you go at that, and I've given you all my email addresses and all that, and I'm going to type them in the description because it's a lot to remember. Please join Grassroots of Democracy especially. And I'll see you soon. Namaste, and thank you for all your support. Please watch Church of Spirituality. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and share if you can. And I would just love it. See you soon. Namaste.